Man, that nigga was that Japanese guy was in shape.
11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. What a fight! I think they're gonna win it. Juan, the Hispanic causing panic, Lascano.
Thanks to those joining me live and those that have joined me here on the archive. The style here being joined by the one and the only Calix Boxing. Make sure you subscribe to his channel here on YouTube and follow him on Twitter. Follow me on Twitter as well. Same handle, The Style Boxing. So much to talk about, so let's dive right into it. You know what I mean? We're gonna dive right into it like that one Filipino diver that like flipped and then he landed on his back and he's in the Olympics. You know what I mean? So let's get this one started. Janibek. Yo, I never seen a fighter so cocky like for a fight ever. Like I sort like and that's saying a lot. Like I never seen it. This dude is so confident, right? No Limit. For those that don't know, No Limit won the purse bid for this fight, right? This is the same opponent, Johovinic, or what's his name? The Jehovah Witness, or whatever his name is, from New Zealand. What's his name again?
I think that's how you pronounce it. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Well, somebody put it in the chat, please. I can't pronounce it. You know, Hovinic or whatever his name is.
Makalovich.
Makalovich. I wasn't even close. So Makalovich. You know, he's over there. He's been trained hard. As you guys know, Janibek ended up in the hospital, didn't make weight, and the dude was left without a fight. He was angry about it. But he was a voluntary, but then they made him the mandatory, right? No Limit wins the mandatory. And I don't know exactly why, but they scheduled the fight 20 days out, 28 days out. Right, and they do it in Australia, over there in Sydney, and they give Janibek a 28-day notice. So you're going to fight us in 28 days, right? We want a purse bid. That's how we're going to do it. And now that could be No Limit trying to give their fighter every advantage possible, right? Which makes sense if you think about it, right? Or it could mean, look, we're going to do it as quickly as possible because we don't even know this dude is even going to be at middleweight, if he's even going to do it. So let's find out now if he's actually going to stay at the weight class. Or it could have been both, right? No Limit offered, from my understanding, okay, and I saw the news reports and I knew this prior. They were offering to bring Janibek over like weeks prior. They were like, hey, you know, we'll pay for a flight. You know, obviously we have to, but you know, to get you here sooner. Janibek's like, nah, I'm good. I'll show up Wednesday, you know what I mean? I'll show up the day of, just show up to the press conference, you know, whatever. That's my only obligation, and that's all I'm going to do. That's all he did, Calix. And 2 days prior, all the way to Australia, there's this thing called jet lag that I think Janibek believes doesn't affect him.
So, man up, though. Are you saying this is going to be an upset? Because it seems
I think it could be. It could be.
Could be our will.
I'm not confident on Makalovich like that. Like, you know what I mean? But you know, if this was like a legitimate, like, bro, if this was any of the top other, you know, like Adames, maybe if it was, you know, even a Lara, I might be saying, man, this is crazy. But I'm not. The jury's still out on this guy because he hasn't fought high-level opposition. He could come out and shock the shit out of us, guy. I don't know. but by the looks of it, I just see a better fighter in Janibek. But
I'm throwing money. I'm throwing a little money down on Mikhailovich plus 480. Janibek
was a way bigger.
You brought this to my
favorite.
attention. Janibek is acting like he won the Super Bowl for making 160.
Guys like Carlos in the chat celebrating the guy, like, oh, he made weight.
I know. Carlos in the chat is acting like Australia is the moon, like it's Mars, like he's going to Mars to fight in a spacesuit. Look, I appreciate him going over there and stuff, but he just missed weight. He's celebrating like, oh my God, I made weight. Oh my, look at me. I made weight. Look at me.
He's calling out the haters. Oh, y'all said I couldn't make
Y'all said I couldn't make the weight. Like, we're celebrating such mundane things now. Like, this is a great achievement that the guy made his weight for his title fight. It's his title.
And you guys said I had to go to 168.
We're celebrating dudes doing the bare. You're supposed to do this. You're doing your job. It's the bare minimum. You're supposed to make 160. If you're fighting at 160, you have a title. So, so far, I have to say, Janibek has been an underachieving, underwhelming fighter up to this point. A lot of people were expecting him to be in a different place 2 or 3 years ago, be further along in his career. And once again, you can make all excuses in the world, but guys overcame these obstacles in the past by fighting a lot, by being active, by making weight, right? Mm-hmm. And just by fighting 3 times per year, at least, fighting almost quarterly and staying in people's faces and knocking people out and entertaining. And this guy isn't Golovkin. He's not even close to that. He's not going to get anywhere close to that. It just is what it is. I think Janibek is going to be another forgettable fighter 5 years from now. I think that's the trend. And I'm going to tell you this right now. Mikhailovich, I think he is a live dog at plus 480. Undefeated fighter, largely unknown. A fighter who's in his athletic prime at 26 years old. And being unknown, he's a wild card. He's a wild card. And these are tricky fights. So seriously, and this could be a booby trap fight for him.
Hey, shout out to Luke. You're saying, we're not sure he was in Kazakhstan. Okay. That's 13 hours and 35 minutes by these calculations, right? Yeah. And even if we cut that in half, that's still a very long flight. Like, there still needs to be time to acclimate.
I think he did. I think he did train out there in Kazakhstan too.
I'm sure he did. But I mean, is it better than if he was training in the U.S.? Sure. You know what I mean? Like, but my thing, like, here's my thing.
It's not like flying from New Orleans to Los Angeles, where
but it's 3.5 hours. It's self-inflicted. That's the problem. Like, he didn't even have to do this. So you could have just showed up earlier.
Well, maybe we'll see. If he comes out sharp, D-style, then it worked out perfectly. We got to see.
Then he doesn't get jet lag. Okay, like people in Kazakhstan are like built different.
Not everybody gets jet lag.
That's probably true.
I do. I don't like flying. I don't like that. I don't like any of it. So I don't like to travel. So it does affect me. And maybe he's more comfortable training where he's used to training. And this might end up working out. All I'm saying is,
very true.
All I'm saying is, he just missed weight before this. His trend is going down to me, and I worry about him.
You know, the Harrison camp is saying, well, at least he doesn't have to drink the water.
Right. We'll see. We'll see what happens with the water. But all I'm saying is, this is a tricky fight given his trend right now. And the undefeated fighter, he's a 7-1 favorite. I like throwing a little money down on Mikhailovich at plus 480. I think
here's the other thing, Alex. The other thing is he's got to do the morning of weigh-in too. So I don't know if that already happened or it's going to happen in. Let's see. I mean, I'm part Australian, so I know the times over here. Okay, so
it's probably going to be about afternoon.
It's 2 in the morning over there right now. So we're talking. I think it's at 8 a.m. So it's 6 hours from now. He's got to do another weigh-in, right? And so that matters because it's keeping him from getting that big. Like, he probably can't eat a steak right now or something. You know what I mean? So he's probably suffering at the moment. I would imagine, because he didn't make weight the last time, and maybe the weight is a bigger issue than the plane. Maybe we're making too big of an issue about the plane, right? All I know is this: it's maybe he doesn't get jet lag. Maybe he knocks the guy out in the first round, like he's saying he is, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see that too? See, first round, check mark is what he's saying. It's like, dude, like I haven't seen a dude this confident and beating somebody like in a long time, bro. He's confident. No, I get you got to be confident, but this is like a whole nother level. You know what I mean? He is giving himself. It's almost like, but I'll tell you what, it is. It does make the fight more intriguing for us, right? Kind of like, well, is it going to be a fight?
Mm-hmm.
You know, is it going to be too much for him? I don't know.
To me, the bigger problem, the bigger story is this. It's nobody seems to care, and that's sad because I remember dropping videos about Janibek before the Denzel Bentley fight, which he looked underwhelming to me in that fight. And
That
I would
might
say
be it
Mikhailovich, he's not somebody you just think about future things past this fight. You got to be focused on this fight. But the problem is Janibek's an exciting fighter. Or should be. It should be a fun fighter. And if you do the right thing and fight this guy 3 to 4 times per year and just have him mow down not best opposition, you're further along in his career now. But the troubling signs are missing weight, right? That's a sign of his body just can't do it, or a lack of professionalism. And if he's missing weight and it's a health issue and he just can't make the weight, then how is he going to rebound for this fight? How is his body going to react? Maybe his body can't make 160 and recover anymore. These are the things we have to think about going into this fight. We're going to start to get some answers tomorrow. But the key thing is the trend is people are caring less about Janibek fight per fight, and that's not a good sign.
Yeah, that's going to be very intriguing and interesting. Shout out to Chauncey Pearls. Boxing sucks. That's all. Bye. Ladies.
I got, and I'm not going to be that negative, but I do have something to say about a conversation Chauncey and I had over the phone, because we talk on the phone and stuff later on in the show. So that's just a heads up.
Now, I do want to make sure people understand that this was put together so last minute, right? And I think it is a tactic, and I do think it's No Limit doing everything they can to put things in. They want a burst bid, so it is what it like. Top Rank, I guess. I don't know how many of you got to watch the press conference. The trainer of Mikhailovich called. He said they were like, he basically said that he doesn't think he tried to make weight the last time. I don't know how true that. I mean, I think maybe he just didn't go his way, but with the weight making weight, he ended up in the hospital, from my understanding. So I don't know, right? But
he was in the hospital.
Like, it says what it is, right? But dude, some cracker lines. I wish I had the audio to play, but one of them was they called them like this disrespectful little shits, right? And then the brother of Janibek just started talking like outside of the camera. You know what I mean? And he's just like, he just started talking like he's not even part of the press conference, right? And the trainer and the fighter going at it with Janibek's brother. Janibek's just sitting there and I don't know what the fuck they're even saying. Like, he's just sitting there like with his sucked in cheekbones and shit. Just like Janibek looked like he was just ready to get the shit over with, to be honest with you. But what one line was, we're respectful to you. We're respectful to you. You only give us 28 days. We gave you 3 months for preparation. And they go, you still didn't make weight. All you did was waste 3 months of our life. Like, what are you talking about? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So they were going back and forth, and it seemed more personal with the brother and that team, the Kiwis, than anything. But it was very interesting, very lively. And then Janibek had a translator for a translator. I don't know if you ever seen that before.
Mm-mm.
So whatever was said in English, the brother of, I believe it was a brother of Janibek, was translated into Ukrainian or something to the manager of Janibek, and then the manager of Janibek would translate that to Janibek's language. It was the most bizarre thing ever. With that said, it was all put together last minute. All the fights were put together last minute. The co-main is Mia Matu versus Shannon O'Connell. It was put together literally a week prior, and they agreed to fight. I'm sure they paid him a pretty penny. And everyone in that card, Calix, one fight was just made yesterday. That's how quickly they put this card together. It is the most insane thing I've ever seen. They don't care. They just want their guy to get an advantage over Janibek. Would you agree with that?
Yep.
100%. Nando Llamas, thumbs up, boxing glove. X, I guess that's for Cali X. Boxing glove, hardworking man, football, and he's got a bear. What is he, a Bears fan? Is that what that means? I mean, I don't know, but I know what this means.
I'm a hard-working man. I wear a steel hard hat.
So there you go.
Brooks and Dunn, classic stuff. One of the greatest bands, not just country bands, one of the greatest bands of all time. Just want to point that out.
Hey, Carlos M says, I'd rather have paint thrown on me before fighting jet lag. Man, is somebody in Australia going
that was, by the way, like, what was that? What? I didn't pay attention to much.
Sandy Ryan was walking out of the hotel. Somebody threw a paint at her. She believes it had something to do with Michaela Mayer's team, but that was that. And then for some reason, they took a picture, and then that was evidence. But then she had to take her clothes off and take a picture again.
Okay, so that's too random. By the way, I don't think that's coincidence. So my question would be, is it coming from the other team, or is it her team running some sort of psyop excuse type thing? Like somebody on her team threw the paint on her, or did she hire somebody?
Know.
But that's some sort of weird. That's some sort of weird Nancy Kerrigan, Tanya Harding stuff, except with paint instead of a lead pipe.
Right. Right. If this was going to happen, it had to be a female fight, right? It had to be two chicks doing it.
That's the weirdest thing.
But the thing is this, though, like, I guess it was pamphlets with hate messages to her that she saw. Like, I have a theory, man. I think it's possible it was because I don't know if you know this guy called Coach K. I believe he's a trainer of Chuchu Harrington right now as well. But he used to train Michaela Mayer, be in the team. She left her team, and then she was Sandy Ryan now. And when all this happened and the pain happened, he was kind of like begging her to pull out. And we're not going to fight under these conditions. You shouldn't do this. And they say he wasn't going to be in the corner anyway, but he wasn't in the corner. And I have a theory it was him.
I don't know. That was just the oddest. That was an odd thing. That was
because the quote unquote proof that Sandra says she has is that, well, how would they know what time I was leaving the hotel room? How would they know, when I was getting ready to go to the arena? Like, I mean, first of all, you wouldn't need like some private investigator to find this stuff out. That's number one. But I mean, if anybody knows more than anybody, it would be that guy, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But it was bizarre, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What was it necessary for her to take her clothes off and take a picture in the hotel room?
It was an inside job. I think that's where that's where the chat is headed. It's an inside job.
I don't know. I can't say, but I don't, because I don't know, right? Yeah, I'm just since Ryan's team is out here accusing people, I mean, I guess I'll just join in and come up with my own theories the way I see it. But
yeah.
That was, by the way, great fight, by the way. Michaela Mayer and Sandy Ryan had a great fight. That was a good fight. And Chuchu Harrington was taken to the limit. He had a tough fight.
Limit. Yeah, he got taken to the limit.
And
we should never, we shall never hear Inoue versus Shushu ever again. Ever.
That's the only thing I was thinking about. Like, we had individuals out there saying, remember when Inoue went to New York to accept his award for Fighter of the Year and by Ring Magazine and the Boxing Writers Association of America, and we could think what we want about those entities, right? I still think highly of the Ring, and I'm kind of hoping it is true that the Loyal sold it. But even the Boxing Writers Association of America, think whatever you want about them, but like to win an award like Fight of the Year is a big deal. There's a lenience to that. There's a whole history to that, right? And so that's why we went over there, right? But we have people saying, "Oh, he's going to New York to scout choo-choo." I'm just like, what? Because he went to the fight because it was in New York. He was in town. Decided, he's like, people leave me alone over here. I'll just go check out some boxing. He's a boxer. He went to go check out a boxing event. Like, I mean, I don't know, but there's legitimately people, and they're calling into the boxing voice, and they're saying he's definitely scouting Choo-Choo because he knows that's his threat. And I'm just thinking to myself, what are these people on, bro?
It's also Top Rank being in this weird position in which they have to rush these new generation of guys because this generation of guys didn't work out. Shakur didn't work out for him. Tiafimo's not working out for him. So they have to try to push these other guys harder to get up to that contender to champion status. And they were really pushing for Shu to get there. And he's just not there yet. He still needs to be developed further, and he's still an 8-round fighter, in my opinion, 10-round fighter. And same thing with Xander is, are these guys 12 rounders yet? Will they ever be legit champion 12-round fighters? I don't know. We'll see.
So now it's time for the most random segment of the ATP that I'm just making up on the fly. Stupid things said by Kriegel. Did you see his interview with Sandy Ryan when he asked her in a very serious tone with his mic, talking to her about the paint being thrown at her, and he goes, "Has this ever happened to you?" And she's like, "No."
You never got paint? You never got paint thrown at you?
What's the matter with you, bro? What is that? Or Timothy Bradley, by the way. Like, you got to be ready for this stuff, right? There's no excuses. You got to expect this. You got to expect stuff like this. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Nobody should be expecting to get paint thrown at them when they leave the hotel room, bro. Yeah. So Janibek said somebody just throw paint at him. You should be ready for it. You know what I mean? I'm just saying. Also, Kriegel, stupid thing said, but during the Sandy Ryan Mayer fight, which was a good fight, I enjoyed it. Really good fight. I thought Mayer won, by the way, but it was close, and it was a great fight, great exchanges, and some back and forth. Love it, right? Kriegel. Oh, man. I don't even know if you heard this one, Calix, but he goes like this. I think it was like the 6th or 7th round. We're barely halfway through the fight. And Kriegel goes exactly like this. Some people so you may talk about Gotti Ward, Barrera Morales, but give me Ryan Mayer. Like, what? Wait up. No, bro. We're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. We're not going to compare. I'm sorry. We're not going to compare. When you can compare a fight to those fights? When they're still talking about them in 20 years. Mm-hmm. If in 20 years, someone's watching this great fight and they go, man, this is reminding me of Mayer versus Ryan, right? When that happens, then we'll talk. But people are still referencing Gotti Ward. They're still referencing Barrera Morales over 20 years later, right? Mm-hmm. They're still doing it. They'll have a great MMA fight. They'll compare to those guys, right? I mean, we're not going to do that. We're just not going to do it.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. All right, we ain't gonna do it. All right. So that's what Kriegel said, and also Kriegel told Mayer and Ryan, "I know you both don't like each other, but in the ring, you were so beautiful together." I don't know what the fuck Kriegel's watching. And when I watch a great fight, I get pumped, I get excited, I don't get emotional. When did this start, Calix? Why are people getting like, what is this?
Don't know.
He's trying to talk all poetic about a good fight. Like what are you doing? The whole thing's weird, but any thoughts on Kriegel saying that Ryan and Mayer looked beautiful together?
No. None.
Or him comparing the girls' fight to Gotti Ward, Barrera Morales.
None. I prefer faster cards. I'd prefer we just get to the
What do you
fights,
see?
and I'd prefer the commentators just don't get in the way and just call the action.
100%. 100%. So look, let's talk about Saul Canelo Alvarez, bro. So Bob Arum comes out and says, "Yo, Mbili, he's the number one contender for the WBC and the WBA, two belts, right? Said we could do it in May." Is what he tweeted out. I don't think Arum would at all object to that, obviously, because he'll be part of it. Look, Mbili, Canelo in May. Is it a blockbuster fight for the casual viewer? Probably not. But look, man, that's a great fight, bro. And Mbili is a dangerous fighter, and I don't object to that fight at all. I think it's a good fight, and if Canelo does it, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and Billy is one of the action stars in the sport. I did see some red flags with him in his last fight with Derevyanchenko, but once again, Derevyanchenko is Derevyanchenko. I knew that guy. He's always going to be a tough fight. I just think that if Derevyanchenko doesn't get injured in that fight, he likely edges out Mbili, or it's one of those where it's murky and Derevyanchenko gets the short end of the stick again. So I think it's a winnable fight for Canelo. I think Mbili's got the type of style that Canelo would prefer, and there's going to be a lot of openings for Canelo, but it's one of those fights where Mbili is not going to be the type of guy that we saw from Berlanga and Charlo and stuff like that, where these guys kind of just lay down for Canelo, and it's more of a sparring session. And if you look at the 168-pound division, it's a weak division right now, in that Benavidez and Morrell Jr., these two guys that people have pushed as a big threat to Canelo, have moved out of the division. And 168 is pretty much bare, as Pacheco's not there yet, I don't think. And Mbili is there. He probably he would be considered the top threat at 168, right? Right now. So kind of by default. So if the fight's there, do it. Let's go. I mean, it would be the top contender at 168, right? So if you're not going to get the Benavidez fight or the Bud fight, May, that would be the fight at 168. And it would be an action fight, that's for sure.
Yeah. Like Mbili has one mode and one way he fights, and it's going to be very intriguing. I like the fight.
He's not a layered fighter, but he is great at what he does. That's for sure.
Yeah, look, I'm not going to be that guy that's going to object to it. That's for sure. I like that fight. I didn't like the Berlanga fight, but I like this fight. And,
yeah,
why not? Shit, I'm all for it. Like, and I hope it's like if ESPN could be involved with it, at least. Well, I don't know. Do you want Bradley to commentate that fight?
I'd rather ESPN be involved with it than I mean, Amazon's going to be involved with it, I'm sure. That's who he's with, but they just don't do a good job of promoting their cards right now. I mean, they're not involved with the promotion process at all, it seems. So other than dropping 2 short films week of the fight, they don't do much promotion behind PBC right now. So PBC's just not doing a good job of promoting their fighters and their cards. So you'd rather, the Zone has been doing the heavy lifting when it comes to Canelo's last 2 fights.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it.
I mean, it does seem that way, you know what I mean? That's for sure. So what are you going to do, you know what I mean? And the fact that they don't even want to like just broadcast it and they were like, well, we'll do our own team. I think says a lot, to be honest with you. But that is intriguing. Bud needs to follow Canelo lead and start knocking out these young lions. Stop with the entitled BS.
And we'll see what he does. We should find out next week what happens with the Fundora situation, right? So possibly we have a unification fight there. Possibly not. I don't know. And that'll tell us a lot of, I think, what Canelo plans to do as far as the Bud situation. And maybe Bud has the opportunity to fight Fundora in the winter and then bounce back against Canelo in May. I don't know, but I think if Bud's moving on, him fighting Fundora would give us sort of a inkling into whether he is.
What you think of Bud's? First of all, I don't know what they recorded that shit on.
I didn't see it. I've heard stuff about which one are you talking about?
It looks all blurry, bro. It looks like it was recorded in like 2008, or on a freaking Motorola phone.
And what did he say? Which one was that?
Well, he just that one in particular, I believe, is where he's going off about Teofimo and stuff like that. So,
is that the one they're showing about somebody eating burritos or something?
No, that's some other stuff. That's like that one's an old video from him going back and forth with Benavidez.
Yeah, to me, I've always had this stance. The thing that is beautiful about boxing is the political incorrectness of it. And I think we need to keep it that way. I think like Ali Sekbek obviously has his drawbacks. He's obviously short bust, but I think one of the good things, the benefits he's done is taking us into the locker room, so to speak, the practice facility, so to speak, in boxing and showing us the political correctness there. What I don't want to see is, since it's out in the open now, that we sort of do this thing where people become more politically correct. And that's the beautiful thing about boxing, is these guys can talk this way to it. You see the gym culture, we're able to see it. And as we're able to have more access to it, I don't want people to start to try to sanitize that. I very much like that about boxing, how these guys can feel like they can speak freely in front of the cameras.
Well, that was a back and forth with Benavidez, and you know what? I just don't like people that act. So, like, and what I mean by that is they act outraged. Like, the people acting outraged about that, bro, that's an old video. If you were really outraged about it, you would have already said something about it, I would think. All right? Like, I'm sorry. Okay? Like, it just gets old. Like, it's just kind of like maybe they feel one of their fighters was accused of saying something, and then so now they want to retaliate by putting Crawford's something he said, and I just don't care, bro. And then I've heard people, some of Crawford's people, go back and forth with the person that posted that video, and they're trying to explain, like, oh well, Benavidez was saying mean things too, and it's. You don't have to explain it, bro. We understand that there was banter going on. Like, it's once you start explaining and going back and forth, you make it a bigger issue than it is, quite frankly, right? So it's whatever to me, but whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's. I'm gonna eat a burrito after this show.
I might too.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's what. But now, don't get me wrong. I think there's lines people shouldn't cross, and yeah, but generally, I don't really see boxers crossing those lines. Like, it's
no,
I just don't.
It's gym culture. It's gym culture. And let men be men.
Calix and I actually defended Haney when he set the. I don't want to say we. Yeah, I don't want to say we defended him. We just said it's whatever it is. Like, it's not.
Yeah, I understand because people hit me back and say, yeah, this is a double standard though, because a white fighter will never be able to say, yeah, fair enough. But the thing is, you got to be careful when you try to sanitize this stuff, because this is what makes this sport unique. I never had a problem with B-Hop saying that to Calzaghe. I think it's a good way to build the fight through our different our boxing culture. It's always been that way, right? Remember when we'd have those post-fight shows on Blog Talk Radio, and you'd have a Mexican fighter fighting a Puerto Rican, and man, it got ugly after that fight. If the Mexican fighter beat the Puerto Rican fighter, it got ugly after those fights. But that's the way you build these fights in boxing. You have these different rivalries, and you have this gym culture going on, and to me, it's fine. I don't have a problem with it.
I mean, it's the way it is. You know what I mean? Calix used to be called a white boy, then he dunks it on their ass. So, you know what I mean?
Sometimes.
I thought white boys couldn't jump.
Well, sometimes I get dunked on. It is what it is. You have to have thick
skin. That's part of the game.
You got to deal with it. That's
the way it is. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? Hey, guys, by the way, hit the like button, by the way, you haven't already. Much support. Tell your abuela to hit it. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's do it. All right. So I don't know. By the way, the woe is me thing going on with Crawford right now. Like, bro, just fight somebody, bro. Like, what? You've been ordered to fight Fundora. Go fight him. Turkey's gonna pay you anyway. You don't have to worry about that. Just come on.
I still and I like you know me. I've been a Bud fan for over a decade, but you're right. It's like, can we stop the crying and get something done? Like, let's just get something done.
And then the constant, the fans, like all this complaining about the fans, bro. Like I haven't seen it.
I got a lot to say about that too.
Well, go ahead.
No, I mean, like later topics that we could possibly talk about it'll tie in, but it's just this the boxing fans just don't understand.
Well, this is tying in because like I'm seeing guys constantly complaining about do you or do you not want people to be interested in the sport of boxing? It's like they want all this interest in the sport. They want people to be fans of the sport, but they want them to stay quiet and not have an opinion and not think anything about it. Just watch it.
Or that we don't understand, right? We can't complain or we don't understand. Or we'll never be happy about anything. You whine about people whining, right? So it ties into like the Haney situation with the lawsuit. It's like, yeah, I mean, I can understand that the guy maybe have some grievances that he needs to deal with. And strategically, though, is this a good move? Is it not? And as a boxing fan, it's much like another Bay Area fighter with Andre Ward. Andre Ward, his career is going well, and then he ends up in a lawsuit, and then not much is going on. He's suing his dead promoter. And then when he comes back from that, he's entitled to 3 tune-ups before he fights Kovalev, right? And we're supposed to just sit back and be okay with that. 4 years of not doing much. And the more you watch these fighters, the more not much is going on. I have people sending me stuff and nothing against them, the Boxing Voice the other day, and they're talking about who would be the A side between Canelo and Inoue in a fight in Japan. Who would be the headliner of a fight of something that'll never happen. And part of me just wanted to tell these people, this isn't happening anyway. Canelo's not fighting in Japan in December. But my point is, so little is going on that American boxing talk has just pretty much focuses on theoreticals now instead of what's really happening. And they give us so little to go off of. So you got Haney, he's going to be more active in the courtroom than in reality. He's turning down other fights. Teofimo's turning down fights. He's above fighting on Friday night. And now you got the Tank situation. And you can't complain about that, right? Because then you're anti-fighter and, you're complaining. And can't you guys just be happy with anything? So why don't you give me something to be happy about? Dude, should I dive deep into the Tank situation right now? I mean,
say we're right through, yeah.
Okay, so the opening odds, he's minus 1450, right? There are odds calculators.
Why are the odds makers hating on the fight?
Exactly, right? So somebody hit me up last week or a couple of days ago when I talked about this, and they said, I mean, imagine other sports doing this, and every week it's Alabama versus Lake Tahoe State. Montana State, West Texas Tech, or something like that, right? And it's a big mismatch. So we have a chronic mismatch culture in boxing. And for whatever reason, boxing writers haven't attacked this because there's a vacuum to talk about it. And I noticed that the journalists and the participants in particular are trying to push this narrative that everything's okay and boxing fans are complaining too much, or boxing fans, they just can't ever be happy. They just can't ever. So let me just give you a specific example of what's going on this weekend and put in a proper perspective as to how chronic this is in boxing and how this is just passed off as normal, is comparing it to other sports. And why we've talked about how if you go in a neighborhood and there's a fight on one block and there's a basketball game on one block and a football game on one block, where's everybody going to gravitate towards naturally? D-style, the fight. Everybody's going to gravitate towards the fight, but It's become
Even
so.
if you're at a basketball game and a fight breaks out on the stand, everyone
Where you
turns around
going?
with it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's become so convoluted, the business surrounding this art form, that everybody's going to that block where the fight is breaking out, but they say, wait. To access this fight, you need $90 to access this. And in order to see the bully beat up on the school nerd again, you're going to have to pay us $90. And it's like, wait a second, should I be able to watch the bully beat up on the school nerd for free? And then you have people out there, these gatekeepers now, they'll say, what are you, broke boy? Why are you complaining again? Don't you want to see the bully beat up the school nerd for $90? I want people to understand what we have this weekend. I went on FanDuel earlier. This is all FanDuel. Boxing has 10 matches this weekend. There's 10 boxing matches. 6 out of 10, 60% of those matches are 10-1 odds or higher. Those are statistical matchups. And to put it in proper perspective, you have odds converters out there. You can access, anybody can access this on Google, right? You have odds converters. Tank Davis has, if you convert it, a 94% chance of beating Lamont Roach. 94% chance. If you convert those odds, Lamont Roach, once you factor in the tie, Lamont Roach has a 4% chance of beating Tank Davis. Berlanga had a 3% chance of beating Canelo Alvarez. This is what we've gotten used to. That's why I talk about a psyop. There's a psyop going on. They've done this over time. It's been gradual to where they've conditioned you to be okay with these fights being on pay-per-view main events. And not only being on pay-per-view main events, $90 pay-per-views now. But I want you to put this in a proper perspective as to what else is going on this weekend in other sports. College football has 50 games, 5-0 this weekend. 6 of those are 10-1 odds or higher, 12%, as opposed to 60% for boxing. I'll take it further. NFL has 14 games this weekend, 0 10-1 odds or higher, 0%. Major League Baseball is a playoff, 0%. But I'll take it even further, and this is more troubling. The UFC has 12 matches this weekend, 12, 1 10-1 odds or higher. It's 11-1 odds, 8%. So what has happened over time is boxing has done this inflation type thing, boxing inflation. Inflation isn't just charging you more, it's the quality of the product has also gone down over time. That's what's happened with boxing, is the quality of the product has gone down and the price of it to access it has gone up. So the fight on that block, the reason that nobody's gravitating towards that fight anymore is the quality of the fights that are happening in that neighborhood have gone down significantly. Everybody gets tired of seeing the bully beat up on the school nerd, right? And on top of that, you have people who have co-opted this and have surrounded that block and said, you have to pay more to access this now. And then on top of that, when people walk away, they're shunned for walking away or complaining about not being able to access that fight by these gatekeepers who are saying, why can't you guys just be happy? Why can't you just be, are you ever happy? It's like, can you give me a pay-per-view main event where the A side isn't a 94% chance of winning? And let's follow the experts, D-Style, because they tell us we're the experts, we're the participants, we're the writers, we're the journalists. They're participating, so we know better than the fan. You need to stay in your place. Okay, let's take that further then. Why does it stop with betting odds? Because odds makers are the best at telling us whether something is a mismatch or not. And people can act like they beat the odds. Nobody beats the odds makers over time. Nobody comes close to it. Nobody. Warren Buffett's the best out there as far as judging the stock market or whatever. And he's like at a 20%, 25%, something like that. Even the best sharp guys, they're betting so few times, so seldom, that because they know they can't beat these guys over time. They're paid to do this. So the odds makers are the best. They are the premier experts at setting odds and telling you whether something is a mismatch, whether it's a good fight, whether it's a good matchup or not. They're saying that Lamont Roach has a 4% chance of winning. 4. and they're going to charge you $90 for that. I feel like I have to put it in proper perspective because people still aren't getting it. They're not getting it. And D-Style, I'm not trying to rain on the people's parade. And if you like the fight, you like the fight. If you wanted to pay for Canelo versus Berlanga, do it. Everybody has their own reasons for buying a fight. That's not so much a matchup.
Well, you don't want to rain on the parade. I'm going to piss on the parade. But
No. But let me finish because to each its own. If you think this is a good fight, say I like Tank versus Lamont, but don't go further in the next sentence and say I don't understand why you guys are doing this and why can't you just be happy and why are you complaining? Because you're trying to take our opinion away at that point. No.
Yeah,
we have a good reason to complain. You should not be charging us $90. That's what the market is telling you for a guy who has four. If you like Lamont Roach, that's fine, but he has a 4% chance of winning.
So a couple of things. Remy, first of all, shout out to us broke boys with jobs. Okay, he's a broke boy with job.
Man, that nigga was that Japanese guy was in shape.
Remy, all right. Chauncey Pearls. Watching boxing like taking time off of your day, spending money, wasting gas to go watch a movie you already know the ending to with these mismatches. Man, all right. There you go. Remy, that Japanese dude was insane.
Man, that nigga was that Japanese guy was in shape.
Poor guys. He was in shape too, Remy. You know that? I don't even know. But everybody in Japan's in some sort of shape. They're not all beasts like Americans over here. You know what I mean? So shout out to Japan. A couple of things. Look, I'm done. I'm done like being understanding when the other side isn't understanding. Fuck them. The fight sucks. You don't like me saying that? You don't need to listen to me. You don't like me saying that? Then fuck off. Like, just like you tell me to fuck off when I complain about fights, then fuck off. You don't need to listen to what I need to say.
Yeah.
The fight sucks. End of story. End fiend. Done. Okay, we're done with the show. That's it. No, but also, like, the fight is not good. If you cannot defend the fight by simply arguing to me the merits of why it's a good fight, then it's not a good fight. Right? If the only thing you could talk about is why is that guy D-Style needs to be always complaining? He's never happy with whoever Tank fights, right? Okay, I'm never happy with whoever Tank fights, right? He hasn't given me a reason to be happy about who he fights. And if you don't like, just like you tell me, right, you're so focused on what guys like me think, then fuck off, right? You don't need to, just like you tell me I don't need to watch the fight, you don't need to listen to me, right? Boxing is a product, right, that I watch, right? And I want to watch the best fight the best. And if I'm not getting that, I'm going to point that out. And if you don't like it, you could fuck off. I'll piss on the parade. Khaled's supposed to be a nice guy. He doesn't want to rain on the parade, even though he hates the fight. Just say you hate the fight, Khaled. The fight sucks. It's not a good fight. And if people don't like me saying it, too fucking bad. It's a sucky ass fight, right? People can tell me all day it's a business. Okay, well, I'm a customer. And I'm voicing that I don't like that fight. Just like I would if they undercook or overcook my steak, I'm going to say something about it, right? It's the way it is. You're not going to give me a bloody steak and then tell me, hey, it's a business. I mean, you do know it costs money to keep the burner on longer. We're wasting more gas. Why would we do that? We could just give it to you all bloody like that, and you gotta eat it or whatever. Like, that's not the way it works. This dude is 30 years old, bro. Or he's gonna be 30. What are we doing? Floyd Mayweather was that old when he first did his first retirement. Like, this is absolutely asinine. And people want to turn into things that it's not even it, bro. Oh, but this is a big opportunity for Roach. What does that have to do with whether or not I like to fight?
It's not. That's the other thing, is this is an indictment on how we feel about Lamar Roach. It's the same exact thing I tried to explain to one of your dudes on your panel before the Hector Luis Garcia fight. It's not how I feel about Hector Luis Garcia. It's there are a dozen fighters there who should have gotten this shot before Hector Luis Garcia, and there's a reason that these guys are in there. The reason that these guys are in there is these dudes have obviously read Sun Tzu Art of War. As you put yourself beyond the possibility to defeat before you even enter the battlefield, and that's one of the first rules, right? And obviously Mayweather perfected that late in his career. And what he's done is he's tried to hand that baton off to Tank. And what they're not realizing is you're not gonna get to your ability as a fighter, and you're not gonna get to those. You're not gonna get to the star power that you would have gotten to otherwise had you just fought the fights and gone through that fire early on in your career. They're so afraid of the L, it seems. And I'm done wondering, by the way, if it's just mental midgetry with this team or if there's something that they're hiding in the gym. Either way, it doesn't matter. They're still doing what they're doing. So it's troubling. But I need people to understand where we're at with this chronic mismatch, because I haven't seen anybody do a deep dive into the odds. This is an every weekend thing. Other than some of the Saudi cards, 60% of boxing matches this weekend are statistical matchups to where guys have less than 10% chance of winning the fight.
Yeah.
You can't have a growing sport that way. You're going to continue to shed if you do that, because nobody has a reason to show up at that point, and you shouldn't be defending that culture. Because college football, like I said, 12%. UFC, 8% in the UFC. These are, I'm sure there are a lot of people who would have rather seen the fist fight on this block than dudes half naked rolling around on the ground. But they've gone there because if you look at a card that's 10 fights deep, 12 fights deep, and there's only one statistical mismatch, then that gives you something to show up for consistently.
Yeah, look, I just think like the Overton window has been shifted so much, right? We got in some good Saudi cards, by the way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And granted, just think about it, guys. Charity. That's what it is. If people want to hear it, people can say whatever they want. Charity is the reason we've gotten some great fights, meaning the Saudis got involved, they forked up the money, and that's the reason for a lot of the great fights. It's not because of the business of boxing, by the way.
Yeah.
The business, people keep lecturing me about it. You don't know the business, and you guys just don't understand how the business works, and all the good stuff. And then I hear like, oh, it's been a great year, and you're complaining. Yeah, all the good stuff is the Saudi stuff. All the good stuff is done the way that we've been saying it should be done. So we're not complaining about that. Me and guys didn't come on here and complain about. Did you hear us complain about Usyk versus Fury?
No.
Or the rematch? Did you see us complain about that? Did you see us complain about AJ and Dubois? Did you see us complain about a lot of these other? No, you didn't see us complain. We have a right to complain about what we want to complain about. That's number one, and we're going to continue to do it, right? But we don't complain about everything. We complain about the stuff, right? It's a case-by-case basis. We're complaining about the specific things, and we're covering the sport week after week after week, right? And the reality is, they keep saying, "Oh, it's been a great year," and you want to complain. Okay, but let's put it this way: all the good stuff is not from the way you guys say we should be doing things.
Exactly.
All right, all the good stuff is what we've been saying we need for years. Exactly. We need undisputed. We need this. We need the best to fight the best. That's what Saudi's been doing for the most part. Not in every case, by the way. Some of their cards are slowly starting to evolve into watered down cards.
Yep.
All right. I'm just going to put that out there. All right. But yeah. Don't pat yourselves on the back too much, because Saudi charity is the reason we got a lot of the good stuff. Not because of the business and the dudes in the business, the dudes with the suits. Okay. No, y'all. When you guys have to cuck to the Saudis, that's when we got the great fights.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So how did it feel to other writers out there seeing your dudes with suits cucking a Turkey al-Sheikh? How does that feel? And how does it feel when a boxing fan like Turkey al-Sheikh tells them what's up, holds their hand, right, and tells them, "No, we're going to do it this way," right? You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there, right? And one more thing I want to say about this Tank thing before we move on. You don't get to call him a mega star and a superstar, right? And then I bring up numbers because I disagree, and I say, well, I don't know about that. I mean, let's look at the numbers, and then tell me you don't care about numbers and I shouldn't be pocket watching. No, but you're calling him a superstar, right? Just like they want to call him pound for pound, but then again, when we start talking about statistics, and in boxing, that's who you fought, right? And where they were ranked when you fought them, you know what I mean? And what weight class they were in before you fought them. All of a sudden, oh, come on, like what? Who cares about that? You know what I mean? Like these guys are undefeated. They just want to focus on the statistic that's beneficial, right? He only has one loss. He's undefeated. Well, whatever it is, whatever. All right. So that's how I feel about that. But
and then on top of that, I want to add, you have a bunch of situation diffusers out there. They throw out trigger words, complaining, not happy. They'll even, some of them will even, they'll even accuse you of being racist or whatever, right? They just want to shut down conversation because they can't compete in real conversations. They have to throw out trigger words. So it's that, and people can't put things into proper perspective. It doesn't seem. It's two things when it comes to this. Number one, they'll say this is an A year, but they're not throwing in the type of money you have to fork over to access this. And I would disagree that this is a year anyway. But even if you say that, look at the money I have to fork over. You've turned this into a country club sport. Number one, you're pricing people out. Number two, they can't put it in proper perspective. Tank and Canelo, like Canelo fought Benavidez, so our guy can fight Lamont Roach. They're both 16-1 odds, or around the same odds, right? But what they're not putting in proper perspective is Canelo fought 25 some odd title fights, close to 70 fights. He's already fought his legacy fights. He feels like he deserves back-end money, whether you agree with that or not. I'm not funding the back-end money. I'm not going to pay for it. I didn't like the fight. But you can't, it's apples to oranges. This dude has 0 legacy fights. None. Mm-hmm. This is the run of the, this is his career at this point. His career has become Alabama versus Louisiana Tech, Alabama versus UTEP. Mississippi Valley State, Alabama versus UTEP. It's a whole season of that. When do we get Alabama versus Georgia? When do we get Alabama versus Tennessee? We're just asking for that. And we're seen as the bad guys for asking for that. And we're the ones trying to tell you this is how you make a sustainable sport, when you bring people back in and you have people congregating towards that street corner again. Because unless you get that, you're not going to get that. Fellas, when you have 60% of a weekend after weekend after weekend are statistical mismatches to where these guys have 3 to 5% chance of winning on the B side, first of all, you can't have eyeballs going that way if you do that. Number two is you can't say, we talked about this, D-Style, athlete empowerment, fighter safety. How are you going to have fighter safety when you have bait dogs in there, human bait dogs? And this is what I wanted to talk about with Chauncey earlier. He brought this to my attention, and it was like, this makes sense. On the prospect level, you have 50-1 favorite, 40-1 favorite. You have this pit bull versus bait dog scenario. And in a sport where you want to talk about fighter safety, you cannot have that anymore. You can't. So in UFC, I know they do it a different way. The prospects fight the prospects. The guy who's 1-0 fights the guy who's 3-0, and we get close to the truth earlier. We have to, if we really care about fighter safety and athlete empowerment, we have to revisit this scenario in which, is it okay
They don't give a shit about
the B side fighter? They only care about the A side fighter, and they'll virtue signal that they care about fighter safety while they're doing it. What I'm saying is, if you really care about fighter safety, all these writers who care about drug testing and drug abuse and Haney being in the courtroom to even the score and clean up the sport, even though we know that's not going to do that. We know Haney could care less about that, because if Haney did care about fighter safety, he wouldn't be 20 to 25 pounds over his opponent on fight night, right? So what I'm saying is, if you really care about this stuff, start talking about the poor dude who's going to be fighting on Saturday night, who's a 50-1 underdog for the prospect, so you can groom the prospect for 10 to 15 fights. We're not in the old days anymore where fighters fought 12 to 15 times per year like Tommy Hearns on the front end. These guys are fighting as prospects now 4 to 6 times per year. You're not going to be able to develop them anyway.
The most frustrating part is people try to make this false equivalency, and I hear this a lot, by the way. For some reason, they're trying to bundle in Canelo with Tank, and there's just no comparison, guys.
No.
I'm sorry. Oh, yeah, Tank, Canelo and Tank, they're not fighting the guys. No. Let's be very clear about this, okay? Canelo's opponents have just been better. Let us stop the nonsense, okay?
Light years better.
Like, maybe not Berlanga, but Berlanga is the common, like that level of opponent is common for Tank Davis.
He was number 7. Munguia was number 2 contender, number 3 in the division. So if we're looking at stats, who had the better year?
And then I keep hearing,
and it's a down year for Canelo. These styles a down year.
Yeah,
and this
it's
is
a down year, and it's still
better.
Like it's getting annoying, bro. It's just getting annoying.
And these style, I've said this in the past. I've said this in the past. I've heard Steve Kemp say this as well. Your expectations of a fighter are what you really think of that fighter. So if we're explaining away Tank being a 15-1 favorite, and when Canelo does it, oh my God, the world is ending. The world is ending. Even though he's fought all these title fights and he has more wear and tear, he's 2 decades into his career. What does that tell us? We're still expecting great things of Canelo. We have higher standards of him, higher expectations, because why? He's a better fighter than Tank. And I know that because this is their expectations of them. They're trying of him. They
still see Tank Davis as some prospect, bro. And or a guy in the come up.
And simultaneously, they're trying to tell you he's the face of the sport. The pay-per-view numbers are not even close. And simultaneously, they're trying to tell you that he's a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter. Or top 5.
Well, he's not a top 10 pound-for-pound. And in my opinion, they bullet their way through threatening of access to get him in pound-for-pound lists with a lot of these platforms.
And shutting people down by saying these trigger words. And then on top of that, the Lomachenko thing bothers me because for 7 years, this dude had opportunities to fight Lomachenko and the likes.
I wanted to get to that. I kept hearing, well, you have to fight Lamont Rocha. All these other guys pulled out. They weren't ready. This guy's injured. Guys, it's a pattern of behavior, guys. You know what that sounds like to me? It's kind of like that, remember those kids? And maybe some of you were one of them, right? That didn't do your homework all year, right? Mm-hmm. All semester you didn't do anything, and on the last day you're asking your teacher for makeup work so you could pass. On the last day, and if your teacher says no, you're not going to be able to make it up. Oh, see, I didn't pass, but I was trying to. You know what I mean? I offered. That's what it sounds like to me, bro. Like Lamont Roach, that's the best you could have come up with. That is the absolute best you could come up with.
I want to see where the offer was sent to Haney, to Teofimo, and then the obstacles start to roll out, right? There were other fighters out there before Lamont Roach, but the Lomachenko thing bothers me because you had 7 years you had access to this fight, and it was all excuses. Now, you know what it reminds me of? We all went to school with a dude like this, and the dude talks trash or whatever, and then people say, all right, meet me in a parking lot after school, and the dude never shows up. He never shows up for the fight. And then one day, the dude who always challenges him to the fight doesn't show up to school. And then this dude acts with bravado. Yeah, you see why he didn't show up? He doesn't want to fight me. What about all the other times this dude called you out to fight in the parking lot and you didn't go? Now there was a clear aging out process of Lomachenko. And this is how the Tank super fans behave. And I would say a lot of American journalists behave, is they behave in a manner in which Tank, for whatever reason, unlike other A-side fighters, isn't held to the same standards. He gets a pass on it. Tank gets to live in the theoretical world, not a reality. Tank
It's everybody.
wanted to fight Lomachenko, and Lomachenko wasn't ready. So therefore, we get this mythical victory over Lomachenko, right? He gets mythical victories over everybody. It's the Tank.
It's everybody.
Against everybody. He wins all of them, so he doesn't have to fight the fights. He gets all these passes.
Ali Setback came out and said, we don't need to watch this fight. So he'll beat him
And
anyway.
look, I don't apologize for it. He is the face of what American boxing has become. Privileged, pampered, low expectations. And at the same time, with these low expectations, he gets all of these accolades. He's the face of what American boxing has become. It's all low standards.
I mean,
stuff.
imagine like knowing the fight's not good and having to pretend that you like it and trying to justify it.
Yeah.
Imagine doing that. And imagine doing it because you want access. Imagine because you want to cover the fight, because you don't want to lose access, because that side is very petty and will pull access, right? Imagine doing it for those reasons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just imagine that's why you're doing. Like just I know what a lot of you all over there are doing. Like it is what it is.
And they'll do it, and they want those people to see them doing it. Look at me, I'm with you. I'm here with you.
Look at me, I'm going at it with these boxing fans. I'm
protecting. Look at me, I'm protecting you against.
And then here's the other thing.
Fans who are
the other thing is this, and this one really like it's so stupid, bro. Like, and it goes, well, you're gonna watch anyway. You're gonna buy it anyway.
Yeah. And I'm
Look,
not.
here's the thing. Yeah, but let's say we are, right? What's with the satisfaction of like, well, you're going to be a boxing fan anyway, whether you like it or not. You're stuck with the sport anyway. You have Stockholm syndrome, because we probably do, right? And that's why we're still watching this fucking sport, right? So you're gonna stay anyway. You know what I mean? It's like I mean, I don't want to laugh about it because it's a very the issue is serious, but it's kind of like a man abusing his wife, right?
Yeah.
We're like the battered wives, and they're like, "Are you gonna stay anyway, bitch?" Just slaps her across the face. You ain't going anywhere anyway. You're gonna stay anyway. So what do you care?
And then when she starts to accuse the other people, will say, you're going to stay anyway, or you need to understand him. You need to understand why he's beating you. Like,
you see, marriage is a contract, and you vow to stay with him, and so you gotta take it.
You gotta take it.
All right? He's gonna do whatever he wants. He's the breadwinner. He's the one that brings in the money. So you're gonna take it. Yeah. Okay, whatever he say, if you're gonna slap across the face, you're gonna take it, right? Mm-hmm. And that's what they're telling us. They're telling you gotta take it. You're gonna take it. And not only are you going to take it, you're going to like it. And if you don't like it, you're going to shut your mouth. All right? You're going to let us do whatever we want. Because Tech can do whatever he wants. And if you don't let him do what he wants, then you're not a real fan. And you should shut the fuck up. And we'll go after you. And
you sound a little too comfortable. You sound a little too comfortable in this role. Have you done this before?
we're going to dox you if you don't support the fight. Like, let's get the fuck out of here, okay? We're going to strip you of your credentials. I don't give a fuck.
You're not a real boxing fan. You're not a real boxing fan.
You're always complaining. Well, you always complain about me complaining.
Yeah.
Well, like, what the fuck is that? Like we can't complain about the boxing fights, but you can complain about me.
I'll give you the same advice you're giving me. Stop complaining.
That's not complaining about me complaining. How about that?
Yeah, you shut up.
Right?
How about that?
Worried about other people's opinion. People don't like to fight. They think it's a shit fight. Oh, well, the market, that's how the market works.
The odds makers agree with this.
It's a shit fight. You don't like me saying it? Leave. You don't like me saying it? Too bad.
And once again, they'll try to turn it on you and say, you hate Lamont. No, man. Lamont Roach.
Yeah, but why do we have to explain this stuff, Calex?
No. He's a solid fighter. Go fight another solid fighter within your division.
People saying this.
And by the way, why does this dude get an excuse? He's fought at 140 before, and they send a deal to Rayo, apparently, allegedly, to fight at 135. And Ryo's a champ at 140, so he reserves the right to fight for his title at 140 and just stay at 140. But this dude has fought at 140 already, and he doesn't have to drain himself to go down there. So why he gets to drain dudes, he gets to bring dudes up in divisions, and they complain about other fighters doing this. But once again, Tank gets a slide. He gets a slide on this stuff.
He just gets a pass. Like it just and look, if whoever wants to give him a pass, give him a pass. But I'm done complaining. Like I shouldn't have to explain to people like they're little children that this has nothing to do with me not liking Lamont Roach or some shit.
They'll give this one a pass too. The Jesse Hart fight.
The fight Jesse Hart didn't even know about. Hey, we didn't get a chance to talk about that. Did we talk about Benavidez and the whole camp thing last week?
Yeah, we did last week. That's right.
Okay, we talked about it. Never mind. But yeah, we did actually. I just brain fart. But look, I don't know, man. This whole thing is just getting unbearable to me, and having to explain, like, you're not little children. I shouldn't have to explain to you that this is not an indictment on Lamont Roach. I shouldn't have to explain to you a lot of these things. You should just know that it's not a good fight, and you know it's not a good fight. So why are we playing these stupid games? I know you're not children because ain't nobody under the age of 30 that watch boxing, right? How many people under the age of 30 watch sport?
I don't know any.
Right? So I know you're not children. So it's just what it is, bro. I'm fed up with explaining to people. Oh, I don't mean that. Let me explain this because they use that. They use that. They weaponize that to like, oh, see, look, they're squirming. They're trying to explain why they mean. You know, I don't like the fight. It's a shit fight. Mm-hmm. That's it. I don't like the fight. It's as simple as that to me. Hart versus Benavidez is a shit fight. What about Canelo? Like, what about him? Me and Calix said the Berlanga fight was a shit fight. And a lot of people in the chat didn't like it. Didn't like it too bad. Like, I wasn't going to cap for the fight and act like I was excited for the fight. Oh, it's a great fight. Like, no, I just called it like it is. And it feels good. Doesn't it feel good to be consistent?
Yeah.
Like it just feels good. You know, because nobody could tell me, oh, you didn't say it. Yeah, I can. I got receipts, right? But anyway, let's just talk about Haney. Really quick, before we get to Haney, really quick. De La Hoya bragging. I'm the only promoter. Just me. Me. Not 2-3 promoters. Just me. We're doing Riyadh, and it's free. Not pay-per-view. Free. All the other promoters got to do pay-per-view. No paper. I have so many fighters that I put my fighters against each other, and it's for free. Turkey doesn't need anybody else. What do you think? We got Armides Barboza. That's a good fight. But
I'm looking forward to Clapback Thursday tonight. Did you see Eddie Hearn's FU? Yeah, he did he did the same exact impression that you did of Oscar. It was right on cue. It was right on the money of the tone that he does. He does the you know how he does that? Like his voice goes up after every sentence about Canelo, and everything's about Canelo. And then but Eddie pretty much talked about some of the problems that Oscar currently has, that Munguia with Top Rank, Haney's in the courtroom suing him, Ryan suspended, that he has some issues currently. I do like some of the cards Oscar has put on, though. I just wish his behavior would get more consistent, because it does matter. You talk about this all the time. Perspective is everything. So I'm not saying he can't behave this way and still put on a good product. It just gives off this I don't know, inconsistency of his of what Golden Boy has become. Because I think when Oscar does get focused and he works with other promoters and he puts on these cards where they belong and just puts on strong cards and keeps his fighters active, I do think he puts on a good product. and he's got stuff there. Zepeda's there, right? But him losing Munguia, Ryan not being happy with him off and on, it just gives off a bad image. So Eddie did a good job of explaining that, illustrating that.
Yeah. Here's I'll do the lawyer one right now.
Mm-hmm.
Because first of all, like, real quick, like, Austria, clapback doesn't mean you literally clap. It doesn't mean clapping. It doesn't mean you clap and then you say something. Like that's
catchy though. It's catchy.
That's not it, bro. That's not what clapback means. Like Canelo needs to say something about you, and then you clap back at him.
Canelo's not even talking about the dude.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like now this one will make sense if you respond to Eddie because he will be clapping back, right?
He will tonight. There's no doubt.
So like there's a response, right? But here's my thing with Oscar, okay? And like I don't think he gets it. Like I don't think he understands. Like I think he's the most oblivious of all the promoters when it comes to the Saudi thing, bro. I honestly feel that. Like I think he's the most oblivious. I don't think he realizes what's really going on here. Look, he doesn't get it. The other promoters get it.
Time will tell. Time will tell. We'll see.
No, he doesn't get it. Like I'll just say, I don't think he get it. Because the other promoters understand, hey, we got to work together to make these cards, and it seems to me like Turkey understands that Austria doesn't want to work with these other promoters. I think he knows that, right?
Oscar's shown an ability to work with other promoters at times, though.
Yeah, I'm not saying he hasn't, but like I guess what I'm trying to say, every kid plays with other kids, Alex, right? But there's kids that don't like to share their toys. There's kids that don't like to play with other kids. You could point at instances where they did play with other kids, right? Mm-hmm. When those other kids shared their toys with them, right? There's always those kids that don't like to share their toys with other kids, right? And when he has an A-side fighter, right, he doesn't particularly like to work with other promoters. He's worked with other promoters when he's been in a B-side position, all right? That's when he's done. Of course, he worked with PBC to make the Munguia fight. He got money off of that. Of course, he worked with the Garcia tank. He got money off of that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So what I am saying is, I particularly don't think he has that much to offer Turkey, aside from a couple of fighters. And Turkey's whole plan is, I'm going to get some of these fighters on Riyadh season. And once those fighters either lose or I force Oscar's hand, to put him on these cards, I'm not going to need him anymore. He's going to get tossed aside, bro. He doesn't need Oscar. What does he need from Oscar?
It's yet to be seen. It's yet to be seen. Because I think one thing Oscar's got going for him, and this is going to be needed, this league that they're going to create, and TKO is going to Turkey Al Sheikh.
You think Oscar's going to be in favor?
Yes, because Turkey Al Sheikh, the Saudis, they need the infrastructure in place already. They're not. They in order for them to get done what they want.
You think Oscar has infrastructure?
Yes. So this is the thing. In order for the Saudis to get done what they want done, they need to do it quick. They need to consolidate things quick. So they need to outsource what they're doing to experts in the field. Turkey's not capable of being this type of promoter, and do everything that a promoter does on this big of a scale. And they need the infrastructure that TKO has in place. That's where Dana White comes in with networking. And Dana White would be sort of this marketing promoter type of figure, right? So they need that infrastructure in place, and they need the promoters they would no longer be promoters as we know them. They would be on the payroll, but they need to go out and get the talent. Oscar has shown he has an eye for talent. That's one thing you got to give him. Golden Boy still goes out and gets entertaining fighters from the Mexico Southwest region, and they know how to build those guys up. Something's broken, and I think
who have they built up though?
Well, you would say Canelo built up himself, right? But
yeah, but okay, but I'm just talking like let's. All that was Schaefer, bro. Post Schaefer era, who have they built up?
Yeah, but he showed an ability to go out and get Schaefer. That's still Golden Boy.
Since Roberto Diaz left, who have they gotten and signed and built up? Who? I just want to know the names.
Ryan Garcia is there. They went out and got him.
What
I'm saying is you can argue that they didn't build
Roberto
him.
Diaz signed Ryan Garcia.
I understand.
Roberto Diaz signs Zepeda.
But
post Roberto Diaz, who have they signed and built up? Nobody.
I get that.
Oscar doesn't know what he's doing.
Those were under the Golden Boy, under the Golden Boy banner. So whether you think as Oscar,
he was snorting cocaine.
Credit for it, and that's my point. That's my point. Is with the Clapback Thursdays, as entertaining as I see it, as entertaining as some people say that it is in the chat, it gives off the perception that this guy is too wild and too erratic. And I think that's your point that you're trying to make. Is I think when it comes to the Saudis, they're looking for professionalism when it comes to these guys. And whether it's true or not, whether this guy can get in the boardroom and focus, it gives off the impression that he's not focused. It gives off the perception that maybe this isn't a guy we want around. Whether it's entertaining or not, the Clapback Thursdays, it shouldn't be coming from him, right? He's a promoter. He should be showing promoter vibes. And I'm just not comfortable is what I'm telling you. There's going to have to be promoters, current promoters that are bought out and they're put in this league to build up fighters. I'm not comfortable. No. But what I'm saying is I'm not comfortable saying which ones are going to thrive in this environment over other ones, except Eddie Hearn. Eddie's the one that I know absolutely gets what's coming. And has gotten on the front end of it.
Let's go back to my point is I don't think Oscar gets it.
Maybe not.
I don't think Oscar really understands what's going on here.
Maybe
what I'm trying to get at is this. If they build the league or whatever, you really think Oscar's going to be the head of the league and run the league? And I don't think he is.
No, but he'll be some sort of broker within that league. And that's what I'm saying. None of these promoters are going to be the head of this, but you need those guys in order to get this done. You need them.
What do you need Oscar for? Like other than just a face or something, other than that, like, what would you need him for? It's
because who else are you going to get to do it? Other than
like, what do you need him? Like, I guess what I'm trying to ask is, what would he do? Like, what would his role be exactly?
Because the league
and why would he need to be the one? Like, there's no other better candidates than Oscar.
You need feeders in order to get fighters up to this league. You need farm systems. And Oscar, you can't tell me that Oscar can't build a farm system to where he specializes in bringing up Mexican fighters and putting fights in the Southwest. And these are feeder leagues to the main league. And you need those guys. And you need to be able to work with those guys.
I'm not saying that, okay. What I'm trying to tell you is that there's people that could do that and you don't need the lawyer. And I don't think the lawyer is interested in that at all. I don't think the lawyer wants to basically become a scouter for Turki Al-Sheikh.
He wants a bigger role.
He's not he doesn't even do that for his own company. So why the hell would they need him?
Yeah. You're saying that some of these other guys can be bought off and take on that role, and Oscar's ego is too big for that.
Oscar's ego is too big. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get what Turki wants his promoters to do, right? Turki's just putting up with it at the moment because Turki's getting something out of Oscar, is what I'm telling you. And what I'm telling everybody else right now.
But to me, the bigger question mark than Oscar is PBC, because will they be willing to play ball?
Well, for some reason, people in the chat think I'm being pro. Like, I don't understand. Like, everyone, I shred PBC all the time, right? It's just what it is.
I'm just not sure where they fit in with this right now.
I have no idea where you're going to fit in with this. I mean, the only thing keeping them hanging on right now is fucking Canelo.
Yeah,
you know that's the only thing keeping them afloat at the moment.
The main reason I say that is, first of all, what do they have to buy, and pay off? Number two, if you look at their big acts right now, Canelo's the biggest one. Whether we like it or not, he's now a PBC fighter.
Mhm.
So he doesn't want to hold anybody's hand, and he doesn't need to. And then Tank has said, keep it. I'm staying over here. And then Benavidez, did they want anything going on with Benavidez? So their three biggest acts, they don't want anything to do with the Saudis. So what's PBC's role in this? Do they just stay independent of this as well?
Look, I'm going to tell you right now. Remember when De La Hoya first came out talking tough, saying no one's going to come to my city, and no one's going to come over here, and then he was trashing the Saudi cards and saying they don't understand America, like, well, we know how to do things over here, and blah 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 blah, right? And then like he was saying, you know, on one of his clapback Thursdays, he was saying he hasn't heard anything about the promoters working together. Nobody's talked to him, so he doesn't know anything about that. And then like 2 days later, they announced a partnership. But there's another thing I remember. Turk Al-Sheikh leaked out. He screenshot it. Right after this was after the lawyer said no one's going to come to my city. Blah, blah, blah. He screenshot it. Also, the lawyer telling him, "Oh, you're doing great things. You're doing great. I just want to tell you that you're doing great things." And he put the screenshot out there, and everybody started to clown Oscar. Hey, you were talking all this tough shit, right? But then the screenshot comes out where you're kissing his ass behind the scene, and I hope that people in the chat trying to kiss the lawyer's ass take that. You take that, motherfuckers, all right? But anyway, your dude was kissing ass to Turk Al-Sheikh, virtually holding hands with him, right? And then, right, all of a sudden, he turns into, all of a sudden, he likes Sugar Daddy Turkey. All of a sudden, Sugar Daddy Turkey is where it's at, right? But he doesn't want people to think he's Sugar Daddy Turkey. Behind the scenes, he's kissing his ass just like he was in private, right? But outside, he's doing clapback Thursdays, and he's talking all this shit. I'm doing this by myself. I'm the only promoter. Just me, right? So it's whatever to me, all right? Fish stockings and shit, and fish nets, and you know what I mean, and spatulas and all that other shit. But that's your dude, right? People talking about him being a figurehead. A figurehead, he failed at being a figurehead. All right, he was getting high. He was going through depression. He was. Nobody knew where the fuck he was. While everybody else ran Golden Boy, and now everybody wants to give him credit like he did something. Oh no, he built up Canelo. No, he didn't. He still goes around saying he built up Floyd Mayweather. That's objectively not true.
This is the thing. This is my.
It was his company under his name, and it ends there. It wasn't his doing. It wasn't his actions.
I think,
right? That's all I'm saying.
I think he's a net positive. But what I would say is his biggest Achilles heel, Dean style, and this is what we would agree on for sure, is the inconsistency, the lack of professionalism. That's the biggest thing I've seen. The biggest difference between Eddie and Oscar is Eddie always he never burns that bridge. He always leaves that opening that I can possibly do business with this fighter again in the future. I could possibly do business with this person in the future. And if you're in the business world, you understand that you have to leave those openings, whether you like it or not. Sometimes you want to lay into somebody and you just can't. You got to leave that out there and leave that opening that perhaps we can do some business again in the future and put differences aside. Oscar's not good at that part. Oscar will burn a bridge like that. And he'll continue to burn that bridge. And there is the inconsistency that he'll say something and then the next week he'll say something.
And when he burns the bridge, by the way, he does it in his panties. On women's panties and shit. He's burning bridges.
Remember when there was that Saudi event?
I'm not insulting him. He bragged about how we all do it. Come on, I do it all the time. We all do it.
But what he'll say things about Eddie. And then last year, I think it was, he went over to Saudi and then him and Eddie had the kumbaya moment, right? And we're going to work together and we're going to do these. And then the next week, he's dogging Eddie again. And it's like, everybody needs to, dude, just relax. And that's the consistency I want from him. I will say, though, to his credit is he is doing interviews. He is vocal, unlike Al, right? So I'll give him that. And I do give him more credit. I do give him more credit for putting on some of these cards that he's put on in the past. And I building.
How many cards has Golden Boy put on this year, by the way?
not as much.
How many?
And this is the thing. This is
4 or
why,
5
and Nando pointed
televised
it out.
cards.
Right, Nando pointed out in the chat. Top Rank not building stars either. That's the big problem on a macro level that all the American promoters have right now is they're not building stars. And that's why I completely disagree with this A+ year that we've had. Is to me, all of the American
But
promoters
here's the
down.
problem, Calix. You talked about earlier. You were talking about like mismatches, and Golden Boy statistically puts on the biggest mismatches on main events than anybody else. That's number one. Last year, like it was the average was crazy for Golden Boy cards specifically, and they didn't even put on that many cards. So like it's they're the worst of the problem. I mean, we go statistically. That's number one. A second, right? Okay. You know, like here's
I don't
my
think
thing.
they put on less cards than PBC last year. I don't think that's right.
No, not PBC. I said then basically everyone involved on the zone pretty much.
Oh, on the zone.
Right?
Yeah, Matchroom out. Yeah, Matchroom out.
PBC was horrendous like last year in terms of amounts of cards that they did, right? That I do understand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think it's 7 this year. Is it 7 they're gonna put on? And
No,
last year was
they're
18.
so butthurt. By the way, let me just Nando's so butthurt that I'm going at Oscar, right? You're sus. Like,
Leave Nando
get the
alone.
fuck
He's a
out of defense.
hardworking man.
He's a hardworking man, but I'm just putting like don't get all mad because you know what I mean. I'm not that impressed with Oscar, and I think the dude's all talk and he says one thing and then he says another thing. And this shit's crazy, bro. I'm just telling you right now, all right? He's basically Turkey Al-Sheikh's lapdog right now, just like all these other promoters are, by the way, right?
Yeah.
But he's getting used and he's gonna get tossed aside when he's no longer needed because he's not an asset. I'm just gonna put that out there. I don't think the dude's an asset. I don't think he gets it. Okay. And that's it. All right.
I don't like his clapback Thursdays. I don't think he's the one to do it, but I do think he's an asset. I do. But we'll find out. We're gonna see who gets it and who doesn't. And we're gonna see how successful is perhaps D-Style the Saudi project doesn't get off the ground. You have to take that into account.
You're acting sus, bruh. Like what? But Austria's not acting sus. Okay. It's whatever. But anyway, and then people bragging about the fight being free. Well, it's not a pay-per-view worthy card. Like what do you mean? You want it to be on pay-per-view or what? Like what does that even mean?
Who's the headline on that pay-per-view?
Zurdo. I like the fight, by the way. Bill Smith versus Zurdo, but I like the fight. I'm not saying I dislike the card, right?
Who else is on that card? Who is it?
Ramirez Barboza, I said. That's the other one I know about. And I know Zepeda, your dude, is going to be on some other mismatch on that card as well.
Yeah, that's not a pay-per-view card.
But it has a lot of the Golden Boy names on it. It's Latino Fight Night. You know what I mean? Like, woo! And
look, Latino Fight Night in Saudi? Are they doing it in Saudi?
It's doing Saudi Arabia.
And Latino Fight Night in Saudi. Yeah.
Latino Fight Night, baby.
Got a nice ring to it, right?
You know? If people say to be nasty to Oscar, like it's one thing to criticize, but don't be nasty. When I was shredding Tank, they were like, yeah, get him. But I wanted Oscar, pobrecitos, they got angry. It's whatever to me, bro.
Right? I got a quote. I just pulled it up. A quote. This is Oscar. I want to thank Turkey Al-Sheikh. Your Excellency is making the best fights happen. To have someone like Turkey take Latino night to Riyadh season is a dream come true. We're going to give him a taste of great fights for free all over the world. So there you go. He's kind of warming up to Turkey Al-Sheikh there. But I wanted to see what's the actual card look like. I don't see it.
Well, I gave you 3. I don't know. I don't remember. Zepeda's fighting Farmer. I believe.
Colazo's on this card. He's facing knockout CP Freshmart, moving up in weight.
By the way, this card is going to
leave unification
without any cards for like 2 months. By the way, but you know I can't say that because people are going to get mad. It is what it is. Que se enojen. Get mad. I want you guys to get mad. This
looks like a good card to me.
You know what these guys?
Zepeda.
Calix is trying to get me off the crowd here, but I'm not going to lay off the crowd. They don't understand. I want them to get mad, Calix. I want them to get angry. right? I want you to hit the thumbs down. Okay, I want you to boycott the show and cancel me. I want you to do it. But anyway,
why are you going after the chat?
I'm just fucking with it.
Latino fight night.
I just fucking with
Duarte,
everybody.
Oscar
But
Duarte's on this.
like
Against
so
Kenneth Smith Jr.
let's dive into one more last thing here. Devin Haney.
Is he fighting Seven Farmer? Zapata?
I believe so, yeah.
Ugh.
Side, I guess. Like, it's not horrible. It's okay.
Oh, come on. I wanted my boy.
Tevin Farmer had a decent performance in the last fight. I mean,
not really. I wanted more of
but
Zapata.
he went the distance.
No, you gotta. This was supposed to be the title fight. Come on. Come on.
The thing about Tevin Farmer is he's a great veteran. You know what I mean?
He should be past that. You should have at least fought
Well, I mean, I'm trying to defend the fight, but you're the one over here saying Oscar's a genius and Oscar De La Hoya makes the best fights, and I want none of the titles. Well, why it's a great fight then? Like, I'm over here trying to set a decent fight, and the fight sucked. Who the fuck made this fight? Your dude. You were just saying he's the best matchmaker in the game.
I didn't say that. And this is what I'll say though: Zapata, it kills me. Because this is arguably the most exciting fighter in the sport, and I want him to be my favorite fighter in the sport. But you can't, like, Tevin Farmer, because his wife, he had to fight this fight because his wife's pregnant or something. His wife gave birth. He's acting like he gave birth. Dude, your wife gave birth. Why can't you fight the title fight now?
Bullshit. Like, oh, you're this caring husband. You got to be there. Like, bro, I'm pretty sure your wife needs a break from you, brother. Like, what are you going to just be there staring at her the whole time?
You're going to be in training camp away from your family anyway. Why don't you just fight?
You need anything, honey? You need anything, honey? Anything you need? You need anything? Do you need anything? What are you gonna do that for 5 months or what? Like, bro.
When I had my first kid, I'm making like I did it, right?
Oh, yeah, he gave Murataya. Yeah, he gave Murataya go fight.
But when that happened to me, I had to take PTO because I wasn't given paternity leave, and I got like 5 days, and then I had to go back to work. Paternity leave. What is this? What is this? You're a dude. You didn't give birth, and you fight twice per year. Go fight the fight, bro.
Well, it's look. It's okay for the dad to spend time.
I'm not giving Zapata a pass, and he's my favorite.
My thing is, you don't need 6 months.
What's this? What is this? I'm not ready.
Yo, you know what though? Like, I'm telling you right now, man. Like all the. Everyone's looking at that right now, being like, man, the paternity leave benefits for boxing are pretty good. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, damn. Hey, Nando Llamas, real quick, buying this style of beer para que se calme, so you can calm down, he says.
Feliz
Navarrete. Feliz Navarrete.
Calme. Para que se calme. Para que se calme. Calm down. Calm down. I can't call the L. I'm just telling you to calm down, bro. You going after the chat?
I'm at war with them right now. I'm at war with the chat right now.
What I'm telling you is this. People aren't going to like me saying this, but this thing where Jose Ramirez had to take a break and not fight the title fight because he was on his honeymoon. It's like, what is that?
No, he was going to get married.
Yeah, but what is that? What is that?
You know what? You know what's funny? I was saying, like, he could have just told his fiance, like,
how long is his honeymoon?
Like, let me go get the belt and then we'll get married. Like, let's go get this big payday. And then you can marry the champ. Don't you want to marry the champ instead? Like, you want to marry just a regular contender or the champ? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, what's up? But here's the thing. I mean, I heard some people are telling me that this is what they told me, so I'll bounce it to you, right? They said, well, you don't understand because you're not married, man. Let me tell you, these women, bro, you can't cancel their wedding, bro, right? And what's your response? Because you're married.
I am. And I'm going to a wedding. By the way, I'm going to a wedding in Houston next weekend for my sister-in-law. Not happy about that. She picked the wrong date for that, October 12th. So in my opinion, you shouldn't have fall weddings. It's just my opinion. Conflicts with.
Oh, is that for the Bivol fight?
Bivol better be
well,
right when that fight starts. She's supposed to be walking down the aisle. I'll have my phone. I'll have my son's iPad up, so I'll be straight. But what I'm saying, man, is what is this new thing where dudes have a baby and they need like 6 months off from stuff? What is that? What happened there? And then we're supposed to stop everything because dudes getting married. And I'm not saying dudes can't have personal lives, but they're fighters at the end of the day, right? It's their occupation, and they can't do this stuff around being fighters.
Plus it's not like, bro, like people do all this stuff working full-time jobs, and motherfuckers fight twice a year at most. So you can't like plan this shit around that, like you know what I mean?
I know.
I'm just saying, like after your fight, you're off for at least 6 months, bro. You can't. Canelo got married.
Dudes don't even plan weddings anyway. Like,
bro, Canelo got married between Saunders and Plant.
Dude, you know how insignificant a dude is at his wedding? Let me tell you, I had 550 people at my wedding. You know how many people I invited personally that were there that I invited? 12.
Your 12. Family.
It's family. It's the parents and the moms got to invite, and the wife.
Of those 12, how many of them were like blood related?
Right.
Like one?
So this is what I'm saying. The dude is so insignificant in all of this that you got.
Have you been waiting years to say that? By the way, has that been burning? You've been wanting to say that for years
now. It's been killing me.
Like I only invited 12. Like
it's been killing me, and I didn't want to invite anybody. I wanted to go to the courthouse. It's like we got to. And
his wife doesn't like boxing, so she didn't even watch the show. Like she don't even know what the fuck he's saying.
Yeah,
she don't.
If
you notice, he said in a lower tone, and he goes like, "You know how many people? 12." I don't know, man. I don't know if you would cancel the wedding, brother. I'm sorry to question that now. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Man. Haney suing, brother.
Yeah.
He's suing. He says, look.
Why not?
I guess. Look, I just want to say this because I know this has come up and people are comparing it to this, but to me, there's no comparison. Resto Collins, right? As you know, Resto had loaded gloves and Resto was sued. Resto did spend 2.5 years in prison for assault. And they have the evidence with them, by the way, right? They had the gloves and the tempered gloves. They had all that. But somehow, Devin Haney is suing Ryan. And people think it's the same thing because Ryan had Austrian. Look, man, I mean, the consequences of that already happened. You know, you got your win back. He was suspended. He was fined. You want to think of the court because that's not even the main issue. It's that Haney believes, Calix, that he suffered reputational damage because of the fight and believes that, you know, he's not being offered the amount he should be offered for fights because, you know, he lost that fight and he didn't agree to fight a guy with Austrian in the system. So that is his argument. And he's taking it to court. And because the promoters didn't flock to the Sandor Martin fight and put up all this money, he feels it's a result of the loss to Garcia.
Yeah, so let's first, I want to address the naivety of boxing fans. If you think that this is, because I had people hit me up about this, if you think that this is some sort of court case that is going to change the trajectory of drug testing and abuse in boxing, then I've got some land in Antarctica I'd love to sell you. I've got a bridge in Brooklyn I'd love to sell you.
I got some oceanfront property.
And if you're also naive, to think that Haney is in that for those reasons, I mean, really, like Haney's in it for Haney, and I got no problem with that. But once again, I think it's a lack of strategic thinking. The only way that this would be a good strategic move is if he's using it as leverage to get a rematch next year, because that could be a play here to where, hey, you want this to go away? How about we do business together again? And, it could be that type of play, right? So we have to wait and see. If that's the case, we'll drop this case and make it go away. If you play ball here, we get a rematch and we make a bunch of money, because whether we like it or not, the rematch would be big because of all of this noise, right? It would. And the fact that he'd be willing to do a rematch tells us that maybe he doesn't think as badly or poorly as Ryan and his team, as far as them being dirty, if he's willing to do a rematch and do business with them. There's a way of thinking that I think boxing fans have, that you settle it in the ring, right? When Cotto versus Margarito happened, I don't know what happened in the first fight, stacking, not stacking, whatever he did or didn't do. Cotto handled it in the ring the second time. And I think people respected that. And I'm not saying one way is right or other. I just think strategically, on a macro level, we're at a point in American boxing to where very little is happening with these fighters. And this continues with that trend. It's Ryan's now suspended, and Devin's going to be more active in the courtroom than in the boxing
ring. A lot of people aren't going to like hearing this, but there's absolutely zero evidence that Margarito did anything in the Cotto fight.
Yeah, no,
and the reality is that HBO in particular blew up what really happened in the back with Cotto. I'm sorry, with Mosley and Margarito.
Yeah.
All it was just some old inserts that Capatillo had. Which you were not allowed to. The interests were too big, right? But somehow the story of Placer Paris and Margarito blew up somehow that even I was viewing that shit. But that aside, I think Mosley beat him because Mosley just had a good style and was just a bad style matchup for Margarito. I think that's what it was.
Yeah. And I don't want to go back and audit all that stuff. What I'm saying is there was a clear difference in fight culture back then. Is we're going to settle in the ring. Now it's courtroom, right. courtroom, and very, very little happening. And whether Devin Haney has the right, because he obviously has the right to do this, but is it worth the time and resources that you have to allocate towards it, to what you're going to get out of it? And now your reputation and the perception is going to be you're more active in the courtroom than in the ring, where you can build your star power. And
not to drag the chat.
It could be smarter for him to just get busy and try to build back his reputation.
Look, and not to drag the chat into this or anything like that, or me to throw a shot to the chat, which I'm about to do. But if you guys should maybe, if you want to defend somebody, right? Then you guys over here, you're all like, oh, these start going at the Mexican de lo, like as much as you defend fishnets, right? Like, how about you all like defend Margarito when people keep talking bad about him and shit, and saying he had plaster Paris? Allocate your energy to that and defend somebody who was called a cheater for years. Like, how about you do that? That's my homework assignment to you guys, okay? But with that said, they're gonna continue to defend fishnets, but
Margachito.
Amir Khan was caught with the exact same drug for the Kell Brook fight, but he got his ass whooped, Kelly. So I guess it only applies if you get your ass whooped, right? If you take the illegal substance and win, you don't get to sue, I guess. Only if you get your ass whooped. That's it.
So,
I mean,
people are going to be naive to think, oh, we're going to clean up the sport, right? Once again, I think there are things that are easier to get a hold on that could clean up the sport easier. And it's what I said earlier that Chauncey has brought up, to where we need to focus on mismatches and get these at closer odds. And that'll be good for fighter safety across the board. I think that's something, if they focused on it, we could actually get a handle on. If there was actually a push for it, and it has to start from the journalism standpoint, is you need people who these people are going to listen to at the top, getting in their ear and pushing it and saying, we need to get a hold of mismatches. More so than we need to get a hold of drug testing, because once again, the abusers are always ahead of the drug testing. They're always going to be multiple steps ahead, and it's going to be the dumb people or the careless people who get caught. That's what we're told from everybody. And once again, should I feel empathetic about a guy, although he's doing it within the rules? he's outweighing his opponents by 20 pounds on fight night. He's doing it within the rules, but maybe the rules are wrong. Maybe we need to fix that too. So
Yeah.
should I feel empathetic about that? I don't know. But what I'm saying is strategically, this probably isn't a good move for, you say it all the time, perception. The perception is going to be that this guy doesn't want to fight right now. And what if he fights one time in 2024?
Well, there's rumors that he used an IV before his fight with Prograis, and like I mean, isn't that if it's an argument of morality, and I didn't agree to fight a guy who's getting an unfair advantage and doing things that they shouldn't be doing, then wouldn't that be an unfair advantage to Prograis? And can he sue for that then? Right?
That's what I'm saying. Where does this end?
Yeah, it's a never-ending thing. Like it's crazy, bro.
And
right?
I don't want to see. I don't want to talk about law. I don't want to talk about courtroom. I want to talk about fights. So at a certain point, as a fight fan, you're like, what am I here for? If this is what we're going to be talking about.
Yep.
So
this is what it is. Hey, it's been a good show, and I'm gonna wrap this one up. Any final words, guys, before we wrap this one up?
No, I mean, a lot of mismatches this weekend. One that is interesting to me is Janibek, to see if this is a banana peel fight. It could be a banana skin fight, and he could slip up. Nick Ball is becoming one of the fascinating fighters who is about that action and is a fun fighter. One thing that I'm keeping an eye on is the situation with him and Stephen Fulton Jr., because Stephen Fulton Jr. has been elevated to be the mandatory if Nick Ball wins this fight this weekend against Rios, because I think Nick Ball is a horrible matchup for Stephen Fulton Jr. That's just my opinion. And I think Fulton Jr. is in a lot of trouble if that fight happens.
Man, well, that should be an interesting one. And I'm just looking forward for this weekend and to kind of pass and so we can get ready, for that. The closer we get to Bivol versus Beterbiev,
Yeah,
the better. And I'm definitely looking forward to that fight. It's not a secret. I got Bivol, but it's not a gimme.
Me too.
That's a tough fight to call. So, anyways, guys, roundtable tonight on Ringside Reporter. By the way, make sure you tune in there. We are out of here. Peace.
God bless.